Objective tests, so this is what I was talking about before, OAEs and ABRs. They don't evaluate hearing, cognitive function, or central auditory processing of sound, but they do provide important data about the physiological function of the cochlea and the auditory nerve. They are not like the be-all and end-all, so just because an infant passes an OAE or ABR doesn't mean that in 2 years they're going to respond thoughtfully to sound. But they're great. They're really great considering what we had before them. So the main ones are OAEs and ABRs, ABR or ASSR. We're going to talk about OAE and ABR mainly, and then admittance is for the middle ear. So otoacoustic emissions, they evaluate outer hair cell integrity, or the function of the inner ear and the cochlea. So the way your cochlea works, if I send sound in it, they do this for any sound, the outer hair cells move up and down in response to sound stimulation. Their movement up and down creates some extra energy, and that extra energy is recorded with a very sensitive microphone, as are OAEs. So OAEs are useful in assisting the differential diagnosis between a cochlear component or a neural component. So a sensory versus neural hearing loss. They're non-invasive, they are easy to set up, they can be obtained quickly, and they're great. There are 2 types of OAEs, spontaneous OAEs, you don't need to worry about this. These are just extra energy or sound in the outer hair cells, or evoked otoacoustic emissions. These are really important for newborn hearing screening. And hearing tests in general, they're a great part of the audiological test battery. So if I send sound into your cochlea and you have normal hearing, your outer hair cells will create some extra energy, and that's what's recorded as our OAE. So every person that has a healthy cochlea will have evoked OAEs. So a small probe is inserted into the ear canal, sounds are presented, and then the response of the cochlea is recorded. The child feels no discomfort, and they don't really need to cooperate anything beyond lying quietly or sitting quietly. Crying babies, it doesn't work. Kids that are making noise, it doesn't work because these sounds are super soft, so you have to be quiet and still. The issue with OAEs is that middle ear. I'm sorry if I go back to this picture. So the probe sits in the ear canal. Sounds are sent through the middle ear to the cochlea, where the otoacoustic emission is evoked, and then that very, very, very soft sound needs to travel out back through the middle ear. So any sort of fluid in the middle ear is going to affect the test results. And like I said, most of the babies that refer or fail their OAE test fail because of the middle ear, because of fluid in the middle ear, which resolves itself usually within the first few days of life. So it's got kind of a high false positive rate in that infants are failing because of fluid in their middle ear and not necessarily because of the cochlea. The ABR and the ASSR are also safe and non-invasive. They do not require the child to cooperate. The child just again needs to sit quietly or still, and electrodes are placed on the head. Sounds or clicks are sent through a probe in the ear, through the cochlea, to the auditory nerve, and the responses are recorded by the electrodes, the brain responses, the auditory nerve responses. So this test is better because we're testing beyond the cochlea. We're also now testing the auditory nerve. Also, this test, you only have to worry about the middle ear once, so just sending the sound in and then recording it up. This test just costed a bit more money. That's why it's not always done. The standard protocol is an OAE screened followed by an ABR screen in the nursery. NICUs, they would do ABRs. And again, we're testing auditory brain firing. We do both ears with the OAEs and the ABRs. Auditory steady state isn't as common. We usually just do the ABR, where we measure the first 5 waves of the ABR. Both tests are great, and they're both total game changers for newborn hearing screening. Be it the OAE, which tests up to the cochlea, or the ABR, the auditory brainstem response, which test up to the auditory nerve. They help with differential diagnosis of hearing loss, and they're great.